Let's talk dopamine. Hi, I'm Terry. I've lost 180 pounds and I have lost it through keto, a couple years of carnivore, and then a year and a half of keto and counting calories. Hi, welcome to my channel. I've lost 180 pounds with keto, carnivore, and counting calories. Don't forget to check the description to this video. I have links to some of my popular videos, a link to my Amazon account for a lot of things that you all ask about. Don't forget I have a bunch of playlists on the homepage of this channel. Thank you. Let's talk dopamine. Hi, I'm Terry. I've lost 180 pounds and I have lost it through keto, a couple years of carnivore, and then a year and a half of keto and counting calories. So that is who I am. And today we're going to talk about dopamine. The reason why, I was having a conversation with my sister when they were in town. And I was talking to her and I said the majority or many obese people who are, we're talking morbidly obese like I was, have depression, probably some anxiety too. And through that depression, food has become their coping mechanism. Some people use their coping mechanism maybe exercise. Some people's coping mechanism may be, cutting. Some people's coping mechanism may be being a narcissist. I don't know. But anyway, so I was talking to her and she was like, well, I don't understand. I don't understand. I said, well, she and I grew up with the same childhood, but we both have had different experiences in our lives, in our childhood. And so like me, I had an event that happened with me, and my coping mechanism for it was seeking out a dopamine rush. Seeking out something that felt good, that helped me cope with what I was going through. Now, I don't know her story. I don't know all the things in my sister's life. But, so anyway, that thing was a lot, and so I was depressed. And so, growing up, it's something I just could never really get out of my head. You know, whenever a person experiences an event, whatever it is, exciting, scary, whatever, the brain is designed to experience the event, process it, and then move forward. Well, when somebody experiences something that they can't process, they just kind of get stuck. So being stuck with that memory, they can't really move forward. So anyway, so then they have to find ways to cope with it. So whenever, for me, as a child, I discovered food. And being 4 years younger than her, the food that was very readily available was processed food. And we all know that processed food is full of chemicals and things that help you crave those processed foods. So so for me, once I experienced that dopamine hit of eating the cheese wrapped around the pickle, or the cheese and peanut butter, or the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or the scoops of hot chocolate straight out of the canister, or scoops of sugar straight out of the canister. Once I discovered those things, that is where I got my dopamine hit, where I felt good. It helped me feel safe. It helped me feel comfortable. And then it helped me create a suit of armor, because as a big kid, I didn't have to worry about the things that, were in my brain. So I told my sister, I feel like a lot of people who are extremely obese had an event of some sort, or, childhood trauma or something in their past, and that led them to discovering the dopamine hit of addicting foods. She didn't necessarily agree to that, and that's okay. She doesn't have to have her opinion. She's not obese, but she's allowed to have her opinion and her thoughts. But dopamine. Let's talk dopamine. So whenever I was obese, I remember I would, on Friday evening after I'd get off work, I'd make that trip to Walmart. I would plan out all the things that I was going to buy. I would think about how it was going to feel to eat all those bad things that I knew were bad for me, but it was still an exciting rush. And, and then sitting in my house by myself on Saturday night and eating those things and just being excited about it and having those flavors in my mouth and sending the dopamine. It was like a whole weekend of legal dopamine or legal drugs. It was a whole weekend of it, and it was perfectly planned out. And so that is how I used to get my dopamine hit. When you cut off those foods from your life, when you get rid of those foods, you have to find, we find new ways of getting dopamine. Sometimes it's getting on that scale and seeing that it has gone down a pound or two from the last time you stepped on it. Sometimes it might be going into the store and knowing that you are a size down from where you were with, just 20 pounds ago. So those dopamine rushes is what those little brushes of things that make you feel good. And they're not bad. It's not a bad thing. God gave us those for a reason. Dopamine is what people feel when they're, seeing their loved one, and it sends a happiness, feeling to their brain. Dopamine is not a bad thing. It's just, as humans, like everything, we tend to make something good into something bad because of whatever reason. Just like exercise isn't something bad, but at the same time, for some people, if it's their coping mechanism for something extreme and bad in their life, then it can be bad if they abuse their body. So once you reach maintenance, you're like, where do I get that dopamine? I don't have the scale anymore. I don't have that rush of, is that scale going to be down? Am I going to get to fit into new clothes this time? You lose that dopamine hit. So you kind of have to find new ways to cope with things. So anyway, I just thought it was something that and I don't know the answer. I'm still in the process of figuring that out. I just know that it's something that now that I'm in maintenance mode, I'm having to process, because, people who are married, they do new experiences together. They go out of town and take family trips. Not saying a single person can't, I don't mean that. But, so there's a couple and they go experience life together. But, for me, in my lifestyle, I'm trying to find new ways new coping mechanisms. And so, I don't have food to do that. I don't have the scale to focus on anymore. And so now it's up to me to find something that I can focus on. I don't know what that is yet. I'm still in the process. I went to the gym twice now, and I'm hoping that it will provide over time a little bit of that dopamine rush that we search for, that pleasure system, that pleasure feeling that that we get sometimes. I'm hoping that some of us get it when we go to church. When we go to church and we sing those church songs, some of us get it then whenever we're listening to the pastor as he talks about things. Some of us get it then. Some of us get it in different ways. But anyway, so yeah, for me, it's kind of a stage I'm at right now, is trying to find what can substitute. Because before, I would get the rush from the scale and shopping for clothes and seeing what size I could fit in. I'm pretty settled on the scale and pretty settled on the clothes area, somewhere between 8 and 10, depending on the brand. Sometimes a medium or large, depending on the brand. So, so now I have to find a new coping mechanism. And that's partly a good thing about the gym. I'm going to see how that goes, because it gives me something to focus on. Getting up 6 o'clock in the morning and going to the gym. And getting up and, feeling good. I asked one of my coworkers, because my concern is that if I go to the gym and I get this excess energy, what the heck am I going to do with it? I'm an introvert. I don't go nowhere. I don't do nothing. So what does an introvert do with this excess energy? So when I asked my different coworkers, Leslie, she's energetic, bubbly, so she's going to go visit her daughter. She's going to do all kinds of stuff around her house. She's going to take her dog for walks in the evening time. So she does that kind of stuff. Well, it's too hot for me to go outside. That's all I'm saying. And for the dogs, it's too hot for their little feeties to go for a walk right now. But then, so I asked my other coworker who, is an exercise person. She says she can't exercise in the evenings because then she can't sleep. But then, so I'm like, well, what does somebody with excess energy do? So she said, well, I clean the house. She's like, I don't really sit down until it's almost time for me to go to bed. And I'm like, what does that look like? So anyway, I just I don't really know, the life. I had a doctor tell me one time, whenever I was in Illinois, and she was talking to me about my weight. She's like, I want you to look at people who are at your ideal weight and look at them and see what they do and emulate what they do. Like she said, you don't see them walking around with the big, the huge coffees. You don't see them walking around with the big value meals. You see them not on a day-to-day basis. Sure, sometimes they may get them, but not on a day-to-day basis. So she's like, I want you to see what they do and try to emulate that. So that's why I was like reaching out to Leslie and Suzanne just to see what they do, because they live the lifestyle that I know I should and want to live, which is healthy, not skinny, not, anorexic, but healthy. So that's why I wanted to check at them and see, well, what do healthy people do? So anyway, yeah. So I just kind of talked to them because, like I said, I have to shift my focus and see, well, where's my dopamine going to come from? What am I going to do for my dopamine hit now? And church on Sundays. And now, hopefully I'll be able to get a little something from going, focusing on the gym on Tuesday. Let's see what I said. I'm going to go Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. So those days. And my experience and the people I've talked with who are morbidly obese because they had something in their life, not just food addiction. There's something in their life that they are recovering from, whether it's personal, whether it's something they saw somebody else go through, whatever. And so a lot of people, are looking for something to make them feel good. So for me, I'm having to refine what it is I need or I can do. I'm having to rediscover a new dopamine hit. That's the only way I can explain it. To somebody who's never had an addiction to food or smoking, I used to smoke, smoking, food, drugs. They're not going to they may not understand, well, or if you're addicted to exercise, they may not understand what I'm saying when I talk about that, but if you had a food addiction or any other kind of addiction, you know what I'm talking about. You just need it. You just need that hit. So anyway, so that's kind of the journey I'm on right now. Because I seem to have figured out about where I'm at on the scale and where I'm at with my eating. So I'm along the way, you definitely have to work on yourself, because you have your demons whenever you step on the scale and you reach a certain point and you're like, if you have used food as a coping mechanism for something, it does cause anxiousness when you see the scale go down. So anyway, so that's the stage I'm at now. Like I said, I'm kind of working on where my dopamine is going to come from, and that's it. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, was dopamine, and how some of us morbidly obese people have used dopamine to help us through with the coping mechanism to help us through something that happened in our past. And some people use food, some people use something else. But anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about, was finding new ways to get those dopamine hits without food or illegal substances. So, okay, well, that's all I'm going to talk about. I have no answer because I'm still working on it, still trying to find it. So, all right, bye.